Hey, so I've seen a lot of people ask if they can use a wheel like this. Either they've inherited it or they found it at Goodwill, they don't know if they've got all the parts, or they got it and said, okay, now I don't know what to do with it. So the idea behind this video is to just show you the parts and how they work. I'm not going to show you how to spin. There's plenty of videos for that. So the first thing I'm going to show you is something you don't actually need to have on a wheel. It's this part right here. This is called a distaff, and its only job is to hold the fiber that you're spinning. In this case, I happen to have some flax on it. This happens to be a flax wheel, but you can spin more than just flax on it. So this is some flax I happen to have. I'm going to take the flax right off. This is just kind of tied on here loosely. So I'm going to pull that right off so you can see the actual distaff. And this is all modular. It all comes apart. And if you happen to find a wheel without one, not a problem. Most modern wheels don't have one. Alright, so there's the actual wheel that you're looking at. This one still actually needs a little bit of work, but it will mostly spin. The next part that you don't need, although it is very useful to actually, you need it to use the wheel. You don't need to find one with it. You can make your own. This is a drive band, and it connects the main wheel to the bobbin. You're gonna need one of these this thing right there, and the flyer. You're gonna need one of these. It's a U-shaped thing. It moves independently from the bobbin, and it is called a flyer because it flies around the bobbin. It'll have hooks on it. If yours doesn't have hooks on it, you can use C-cups that you can get at Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. Alright, so going back to the drive band, this one I have here was one that I spun using a drop spindle. I made it out of flax. You can make it out of cotton. Wool is not. Wool's going to stretch a little bit. You want to make sure that it doesn't stretch. And I just had my seam here a moment ago. Where is it? There it is. So this seam, I sewed the ends together rather than knotting them because it makes a smoother join for when it goes around the wheel. Right. You've got two grooves here because this is a double drive band wheel, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. Basically, it's got well, this is actually one band, one giant band wrapped in a figure 8, which is why there's the cross there. And you don't really need two separate grooves on here. You could have one groove, but the reason it's a double drive is because this whorl here connected to the flyer. If I can get the bobbin in up. There you go. It's just that back whorl. And the bobbin right here, just this little piece right here. They move independently of each other. They each have their own band going to them. That's a double drive. All right. And this is how the wheel and the bobbin and the flyer interact with each other. Okay, I'm going to do another video that I have that's a single drive, and it's an Irish tension, but I'll show you, explain what that means in a minute. This has a little cup here. Oops. The linen likes to get spun wet, so there's a cup holder, and you used to be able to put a little cup in there with some water, and so you could spin flax. So you got your flyer, you got your bobbin, and what will happen is this yarn, this is called a leader, so you want to wrap some yarn around here first just to get you started, because you're going to go, it's going to go through the hooks over to here, and then there's a hole right there. That's called an orifice. And so what I've got here is an orifice hook. Turn around, there you go. I'm going to pull this off, and this is going to go through the orifice Now this side. Where are you? There you go. And I'm going to hook this yarn through that hook and pull it out there. And then this is where you're going to spin your yarn from, right there. All right. If you're starting to spin and you're finding that the spinning wheel is pulling too hard, it's trying to pull it out of your hands, you want to have it pull out of your hands a little bit. You don't want it pulling out of your hands so much that you can't hold on to it. And so how you stop it from doing that is by using this knob back here. All right, this base, this whole thing is called a mother of all. Mother of all, there we go, because it moves everything. And so if I turn it one way, it'll move this base closer to the large wheel, and you can see that. And if I turn it the other way, it moves it back and increases the tension, meaning it's going to pull harder. It's going to pull the string more forcefully onto this bobbin. Right. How this works is the bobbin, or the flyer is going to spin around, and you can see right here the yarn, if you hold on to this end, is going to actually be twisted. And then at some point when you move your hands closer to the orifice, it should be trying to eat it a little bit. It's the best way I can explain it, so that this will actually, the bobbin will want to suck up the yarn and wrap it up onto here. And so the flyer is actually going to stop spinning as fast as the bobbin. The bobbin's going to spin faster. This whole thing's going to happen so fast your eyes aren't going to be able to pick up on it, but they are actually doing a dance. This will spin at the same rate as the bobbin, and then the bobbin will spin faster, or the flyer will slow down, or both, so that the bobbin's going, either way, the bobbin's going faster so that the yarn gets pulled up onto the bobbin. So it's kind of a neat trick, and it all does it automatically. So you definitely need a flyer and a bobbin. Some people say you need more than one bobbin. You can do it without more than one bobbin. Every time you fill it up, you just wind it onto something else, like a toilet paper tube even, and keep using this one. Okay, so mother of all, flyer, bobbin. You've got two leather pieces here. One holds this end of it. This is all one big piece. This metal part, it pops right through a hole in the end of this leather piece. On the other end, there's another leather piece, and this goes right through the end. This is a little tight right now because this hole down in here is not quite large enough for this. I've got to work on that. This one is really, really old. It's stiff. To make it pliable so it doesn't crack, I put oil on it so it soaks it in. When I first got this, it took a little bit of detective work because these were in opposite sides. One of them was turned so that this was shoved into the end. This is how it should be set up. So take a look. You may have to play a little bit of detective, but it's kind of fun. Okay, so this is how the whole top of that works. This wheel just goes around. These little finials are just for decoration. These spokes are holding up the wheel. I want to get in here because I want you to see that there is a groove, an opening here on this side. There should be a wedge, and usually it's got little decorations and things on there, and there's also a peg to hold it in place, but mine doesn't have that. It's okay. It still works. The wheel moves. It's not falling out, so we're good. I'm going to turn this around so you can see. I've got a footman, excuse me, woohoo. This is a treadle. I've got a treadle down here, and this is one of the things I'm having a hard time with, is that the treadle will fall out of the holes that are drilled into this leg, and so I've got these little rubber things on there to try and hold it in there. It's kind of doing the job. So I'm going to spin this whole thing around so I can show you the back of this. Yeah. So at the back, so we've got this treadle on the bottom, and this stick is called a footman. If you find a wheel that has one of these, awesome. If not, it's okay, because you could use a piece of string. And I actually, when I got this string was already on here. This is B50 Dacron thread, yarn string. It's usually used in archery supplies, but they made the kind of a noose kind of looking thing here, and hooked one end of it on this, took the other end, get on there, took the other end and put it through this hole, tied it, and that's going to work just as well. It's a little bit more finicky because you've got to really get your timing down, but it totally works. Just for antique's sake, I like having this on here because I think it's neat. Oops. There we go. Okay. So what this does is your wheel's going to go up like this by momentum, and then when it gets down to this side, what's going to happen is you're going to want to you're going to get a rhythm so that your foot presses down on this, and the footman will pull that hook down, and that makes the wheel go around. So if you can get into a rhythm here, you get it ready. You really got to push it down enough so that it springs back up the other side. So you want to even just practice treadling just like this for a while, and then get used to making it go the other way. Just by timing your foot, or in this case your hand. Alright, so that's how that goes. Again, we're looking at this from the back. This should not be on the same side as you. So you get treadle, footman, there's the little cup again, and if you'll see, this is the back. This might be the spindle part of the spinning wheel that Sleeping Beauty is said to have pricked her finger on, but you can see it's not all that sharp. No blood, we're good. Alright, so that's all the working parts. So again, you definitely need a bobbin, you definitely need a flyer in good shape. If you don't have the hooks on there, you can get them at Home Depot or Lowe's or something like that, your local hardware store. You do not need to have a drive band on there already. You can make one fairly easily. You can get a plastic one online. You can take a piece of cotton and wrap it on there. Big figure 8, that's how that goes. If you have a distaff, awesome. If not, no big deal. See what I mean? This is all coming out. That belongs there. And there you go. If you have questions, thoughts, comments, post them below. Other than that, happy spinning.